Welcome to This Explainer. You know, when we sit down to watch an elite football match, we're usually completely swept up in the athleticism, the strategy, and the pure glory of it all. We're watching for those dramatic last-minute goals and listening to the roar of the crowd. But just beneath that pristine green grass lies a massive, mostly hidden economic engine operating at absolute full throttle. Today, we're going to unpack the highly calibrated billion-dollar financial machine that actually makes the modern beautiful game possible. To really grasp this, think for a second about your average 17-year-old. Their biggest concerns are usually passing upcoming exams, keeping up with homework, and just dealing with those everyday, looming worries about what the future holds. But for an elite prodigy, guys like Lamine Yamal, Marcus Rashford, or Michael Olise, that reality is completely flipped upside down. I mean, before they can even legally buy a drink, they've transformed their raw talent into unbelievable wealth and total luxury. We're talking about teenagers commanding salaries in a single week that completely dwarf what a traditional professional might earn over an entire decade. It's wild. Which naturally brings us to a huge billion-dollar mystery. How exactly do these teenagers amass such staggering wealth at an age when most people are literally just applying for their first part-time jobs? And more importantly, what kind of underlying financial machinery allows the clubs to bankroll those endless millions? The economics behind this phenomenon are absolutely fascinating, and to truly understand them, we have to start at the very beginning of the supply chain.
The answer starts at the bottom of a massive and, frankly, unforgiving funnel. Every single year, literally millions of kids around the world dream of making it to the top of professional football. But the structure designed to filter them out, it is incredibly severe.
It all begins casually enough, right? Kids learning the game out in the streets, in schoolyards, and at local grassroots clubs. But to actually climb the ranks, a player has to get scouted and then survive years inside an elite academy. And let me tell you, this is a cutthroat environment. You're competing daily against thousands of equally hungry, highly talented kids for a tiny fraction of a % chance at success. Most will face rejection and wash out. But the few who survive that brutal gauntlet to finally step onto the pitch for the first team, their lives and their entire financial trajectories change forever. The crazy thing is, the moment they sign that first professional contract, they transition from a hopeful student of the game straight into a highly valued corporate asset. Think about it. For their entire childhood, their families were probably absorbing all the costs, paying for travel, expensive boots, academy fees, but crossing that professional threshold flips the economic model entirely. Instead of paying to participate, they instantly command wages that absolutely shatter traditional income brackets, cementing their status as elite earners literally overnight. But hold on, because that jaw-dropping base salary? Yeah, that's often just the floor. Modern football contracts are incredibly complex financial instruments, and they are heavily weighted with intricate performance metrics. Players aren't just getting a simple $50 for scoring a goal anymore. We are talking about lucrative image rights agreements, massive loyalty bonuses explicitly structured to retain them as human capital, and cascading payouts tied directly to specific career milestones or championship titles. The contract itself is a highly engineered investment vehicle designed to squeeze out maximum motivation and output. Yet, even with all those complex contract bonuses, a player's base club salary is often just pocket change compared to their true earning power. The most astronomical wealth actually comes completely off the pitch. Massive multinational sports brands and high-end luxury fashion houses are willing to pay mind-boggling amounts of money just to align themselves with these athletes. A single exclusive boot deal or a global ambassador role can easily eclipse what a player earns from playing the actual game. We really have to start viewing modern athletes as independent media companies controlling highly valuable digital real estate. In today's landscape, a superstar's social media following often rivals, or sometimes even exceeds, the following of the actual club they play for. This makes them incredibly powerful independent publishers. Because they command millions of highly engaged eyeballs, a single sponsored post on their feed is a direct, high-conversion marketing channel. They can easily generate tens of thousands of dollars just for hitting publish on their phone. So the very definition of a top-tier player has completely evolved from what it was in the past. They are no longer just athletes running around on the grass for 90 minutes. The more famous they become, the more integral they are to multinational corporate strategies. They've transformed into independent, highly valuable global marketing powerhouses. Today, an elite footballer is quite literally a walking, talking corporate brand with immense global leverage.
Okay, so we've established that the players themselves are getting incredibly wealthy, acting as their own independent media conglomerates. But that begs the ultimate question. how do the clubs actually afford to bankroll these walking corporations? Where's the capital coming from to fund weekly wages that routinely hit six figures?
Well, the simple answer is pure scale. We have to stop looking at football merely as a localized sporting event. Economically, it functions on the exact same level as Hollywood or the global music industry. It is, quite literally, one of the largest, most lucrative entertainment properties on planet Earth, capturing the attention and the wallets of billions of consumers across every single continent.
These clubs operate as massive, finely tuned economic engines, and they generate their capital through interconnected revenue streams that constantly feed into one another. The giant stadiums create the physical spectacle. That spectacle drives massive global merchandise sales. The sheer volume of those fans then attracts high-paying corporate sponsors who are just desperate for visibility. But the engine that truly supercharges this entire machine, the absolute largest piece of the financial pie, is television broadcasting rights.
Because media networks and streaming platforms are locked in a relentless, high-stakes bidding war for the eyes of millions of passionate fans tuning in every week, television rights have become a multi-billion-dollar pipeline. This isn't just extra income on the side. This broadcast revenue is the ultimate, foundational lifeblood of the sport. It's this specific, massive influx of global capital that flows directly into the clubs, empowering them to sustain those staggering weekly wages.
But there's one final, absolutely crucial piece to the club's financial puzzle, and this is where the business model truly diverges from traditional entertainment. In this ecosystem, the players themselves are actively treated as high-yield financial assets, constantly bought, sold, and traded on an open global exchange. We are talking, of course, about the transfer market.
Think about the scouting and transfer life cycle as the ultimate high-stakes stock exchange. Honestly, in what other industry can a business acquire a raw asset for practically nothing, aggressively develop it internally over a few years, and then turn around and sell it for $100 million? A club's scouting network identifies undervalued potential, brings it into the academy to hone those skills, and builds the asset's global profile. The resulting profit margins on a successful homegrown player are just practically astronomical. Now, I should point out, reaching this ultimate lucrative jackpot isn't just about possessing raw physical talent or maintaining a strong work ethic. While intense hard work and week-in, week-out consistency are absolutely mandatory baselines, true elite status requires a rare alchemy. To break into the upper echelons of wealth, a player must also harness immense global popularity and cultural relevance.
And that popularity creates this wild, fascinating echo chamber of success, driving massive wealth and equality right inside the sport itself. The biggest stars naturally attract a disproportionate share of global fans. Those massive fan bases guarantee more lucrative corporate sponsors, which in turn elevates the player's profile even further. It's a self-fulfilling economic cycle that perfectly explains why the top 1% of superstars earn exponentially more than their peers who are playing in the exact same league.
Look, the luxury and excess at the top is undeniable, but it rests on a foundation of intense attrition. So when you see a 19-year-old superstar signing a record-breaking contract or rolling up to training in a bespoke supercar, you have to remember that massive, unforgiving academy funnel. That visible success is built upon thousands of discarded talents who just didn't make the cut, and years of hidden, grueling, unglamorous sacrifice that the cameras never capture.
At the end of the day, the staggering wealth of a single teenage prodigy is really just the visible peak of a much, much larger structure. Beneath the surface of the highlight reels and the trophy lifts is an incredibly complex, highly calculated global business infrastructure that operates 24/7. Elite football is, fundamentally, one of the most sophisticated multinational corporate enterprises in the modern world.
I'll leave you with this thought to ponder the next time you tune in to cheer for your favorite team. Will you just be watching a beautiful game, or will you be watching a highly optimized billion-dollar business in motion? Because let me tell you, long after the fans go home and the stadium lights go dark, the business of